Spotlight. I'm here with my co-host Greg Fay. I'm Tony Miltenberger. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to hit that subscribe button wherever you are watching on YouTube. Hit subscribe, follow us. Greg, tell us a little bit about who is on the podcast today.
Excited for this one right here because there's a group of young entrepreneurs out there that decided when they got out of school that they were going to go to work in the trades and fill a void that still exists today. This guy's taken a big bite out of it with his interior painting business. He's did work for us. I've known him and his family for a very long time, and just really proud of everything he's accomplished, watched his family grow. Realized today something I already knew, that his wife was the brains of the operation, but that's all right. He's here. We'll get her on a podcast one day because she's a ultra successful realtor. But I want to introduce Jeremiah Bennett to the show, owner of Bennett Interior Painting.
Well done. Well done, Jeremiah. Thanks for being here today. I love to kind of jump in to the big stuff. I know you're managing a lot. You've got your painting business. You've got 3 kids under the age of 6. Obviously, you've got a wildly successful wife. How do you, as a business owner, manage being all things to all people?
Well, it's difficult. It's really difficult, but I think it just comes down to balancing your life in a way that works for you, but also works for your family, and turning off the phone once in a while and just setting down the technology so that you can focus on what's most important, which is my family. Obviously, being in the trades, I'm getting phone calls and emails and texts all the time. But honestly, my family's the most important. I'm a really good communicator, but some things do have to wait because my family's the most important to me.
Is that two-pronged question? I want to just ask a follow-up on that one, then I've got a separate one. But has it been that way with your family from the jump street? Did you recognize that, or did things have to kind of get a little crazy and chaotic before you recognized that you needed to set that priority?
Sure, it's been an adjustment. At first, I was obviously the owner. I was the number one painter, and I was doing all the estimates. And so my schedule was not nearly as flexible as it is now, since I have a team that works for me. So I think, this is my 8th year of doing this. So I think that through the years, I'm learning every single year new things and how to better adjust my schedule that fits the needs of my clients and also my family. And so it's definitely been an adjustment. It was definitely super chaotic at the beginning. And as the years have gone by, I've kind of gotten my sweet spot, and it's been awesome.
Let me get to the real question I wanted to ask. I just was curious about that. Tony asked a great question. So when you finished up with your education, your formal education, what was the thing? So what you have listening here, your audience here, is either business owners like yourself. Well, all 3 of us on the podcast are, but I have a feeling on the periphery we catch an entrepreneur that is still at work, and maybe they're doing what they're doing as a side hustle, and they need some confidence, they need some advice, they need to see that someone successfully made that jump. Where did you flip the switch there? What was it?
Well, I think what flipped the switch for me is, I got married. I was working a little bit more as a side hustle doing painting. And then once I started having a family, that's when the switch had to flip for me, because I knew I had to provide. And I didn't know that I wanted to do this long term. And, I started painting for someone else beforehand, and then learned the ways of the trade and jumped into it, not for the painting so much, but the relationship part of it, meeting new people and just being able to establish those connections and helping people, right? And so that's where I kind of would say, my drive was my family. And, I've always been driven. I've since I was little, I've always been driven. But, as I've gotten older, the responsibilities increase, being a dad and, being a husband. And so, as soon as I found out I was having baby number 1, the drive just kicked in another notch.
Yeah. So tell us about that moment when you decided that you could go full time in this business, and the thought process, because if my research is correct, you didn't go to school to be a painter.
I did not.
And so you spent a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of resources in
Yes.
a completely other area. And then you take this bold move of faith and courage where you say, I'm planting my flag and
Exactly.
I'm going to be an interior painter. So tell us two things. Tell us the story of when you knew that was true and why painting.
Yeah. So, painting really fell into my lap because I knew a guy from church that had had a painting business for a long time and he needed an extra hand. And so I started helping him. I worked for him for a couple of years, and then I realized I can't make it on this hourly wage anymore. So I went out on my own, and honestly, because of the way I communicate with people and the relationships that I've always made, it was really not that difficult. But there was definitely challenges because I'm always learning new things along the way, and everyone's different, right? So my approach, normally is the same when I meet my clients. But going back to your question, yeah, I went to school for communications. I went to Sinclair, got a communications degree. Really wanted to go into sports radio, and maybe at some point I can do that because that's my passion. But I went there, got that degree, and did a bunch of courses at Sinclair, and absolutely loved it. And then, I tried to do some. I started working for a big company in Cincinnati, Courts for Sports. They wanted me to be the marketing director there. So I stepped in. It was okay. It wasn't really my bread and butter. I was doing a lot of computer work and I wasn't out with the people. So I would say after that ended, then I tried the bank industry because I'm like, oh, I like people. But then I realized the corporate world wasn't for me. It wasn't so much that I wanted to set my own schedule. It was just, I wanted to be able to just be me and not have to worry about all these expectations that the corporate world has for you. And also on top of that, I didn't want to just be a number, in the corporate world, like where they take advantage of you. I wanted to make my own name for myself.
Got it. Well, you made a jump from getting into it. One of the biggest thing, Tony consults with very large companies and executives, and I work more with smaller companies like yours. And here's the thing that we hear all the time, whether you're big or small, how do you know how to hire the right people, especially because they represent a small family-owned business? Your painting business is everything to you, just like Brittany's real estate business is everything to her. What are some of the things that you look for in hiring an employee? And really, you've been successful because you said now you're able to go out and do the estimating and meet with customers and get the job. So, what was the key?
The key for me was, having this crew has been amazing. I really had to pivot because I ruptured my Achilles back in 2023.
Oh,
And
wow.
so I don't think if that wouldn't have happened, I'm not sure would have been able to delegate like I do now, to be completely honest, because I'm so particular and I'm such a perfectionist. It put me in a place where I had to make that switch. And so the people that I'm looking for, team players, I'm looking to establish, camaraderie with the team, having fun, but also doing great work. And that's possible. You can have fun and also do great work at the same time. But my slogan has always been perfection is the expectation. Honestly, that's what I've always been driven by. And I will not leave, a client's home until they are satisfied. But as far as, the people that I hire, I have a pretty extensive process. Like, I'm not going to just hire anyone. I want to hire people with great integrity because I have great integrity. And I want to hire people that are willing to work not only on a team, but be coachable and also just being able to interact not only with the coworkers, but also the clients, because that's such a big part for me is the client relationship because that goes such a long way when it comes to getting jobs down the road. So I would say my standard is very, very high. I don't just hire anyone. Right now I have 4. I've had 8, 9 people on my crew. Both have worked in their own different ways, but right now it just seems like the smaller the better. Less headaches, and I can sleep a lot better at night.
I love that.
Yeah.
And sleep is a superpower most people don't realize. So that's good.
Mhm.
One of the things I'm curious about is you work in an area that is oftentimes um, entered in by entrepreneurs or people who aren't quite entrepreneurs, but just know that they can paint, right? For example, like there's some artistry to it, but also there's, there's that kind of that you can have two of the three, but you can't have all three: quick, cheap,
Right.
or quality.
Mhm.
And so how do you handle the sales process,
Yeah.
knowing that somebody with a paintbrush and 4 hours can call themselves a painter and undercut you?
Right. Yeah. So it's a battle because it seems like money always trumps everything. I don't care if I go in offering brownies or cookies. It seems like at the end of the day, money talks the most. But I will say that, for me, it is the relationships. For me, it's also just like making sure I find a connection with my clients, and normally once we find that connection, it's smooth sailing from there. But it's hard in this industry because there are painting companies out there that will lowball, and not only lowball, they say they're available tomorrow. Well, sometimes that's okay. Sometimes maybe they have a cancellation, but most of the time, if someone's available tomorrow or even the beginning of next week, you got to wonder why. And so, I tell people get estimates. I encourage estimates just to see where all the numbers land. But at the end of the day, money is important, but trust, having, a group of people that you don't know in your home to trust, not only with painting, but all of the things you have in your house to protect. It's a big deal. So I would say, like, I'm definitely probably average to maybe on the higher side of my quotes. And that's mainly because I know the quality of work that we do, and it's
Mm.
excellent. And the people that I hire are excellent at what they do. And because of that, I pay them very well. And so my labor charges is normally more. Now I get a great discount at Sherwin-Williams, so I get great discounts on paint. But to get the right people in there is crucial for me, because if I have the right people and I keep getting these 5-star reviews coming in, I know I'm going to get, word of mouth and, people looking me up on Google.
Well, I tell you, you've got the right marketing things going on. When you've got people that are writing 5-star reviews at the pace that they are for you, and
That's right.
people that are giving you referrals at the pace that they are, that really builds such a strong foundation.
Yeah.
Again, I'm going to go back to the business owner or the entrepreneur that is just trying to make that jump. They need that confidence. They need to hear that one thing that will make them. Your one thing was family, and I love that right there. There's nothing more motivating than they say when you know the why, the how is easy,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and that's probably what got it for you right there. What advice can you say to someone sitting on the sideline that may have been a Jeremiah Bennett? Forget about whether it's painting, it doesn't matter whether it's electrical, plumbing, landscaping, HVAC. So there's someone out there sitting on the sideline right now. And
Right.
if they could have coffee with you and say, Jeremiah, give me one thing, what would it be?
It's pretty simple for me, honestly. Make sure you love what you do. If you do not love what you do, get out of it, because I see so many people get stuck in something they don't want to do, and then they don't know how to escape from that. They don't know how to start something new. And so I would say the main thing for me is, actually, I love to paint, and not being able to paint every day is kind of hard. I'll even go into the job site and I'll say, hey, so and so, can I get a brush? I need to cut a line real quick. You know what I mean? And so for me, it's just, you have to love what you do. And I love what I do. I love to paint, but I also love the relationship side. So for me, like, if I wasn't a people person and I wasn't someone who just, if I didn't get energy from people because I'm an extrovert, I probably wouldn't have gone down this path. But I've known from a pretty young age that I'm driven by people and I get my energy from people. So I would say, first and foremost, love what you do. And then secondly, I would just say, keep trying. I mean, it's hard at the beginning, but keep pushing along. As soon as you establish those first few clients, it's amazing what word of mouth can do and how quickly it travels. And so I would just say, don't give up, but make sure you love what you do, because that's the most important thing. If you do not love what you do, it's going to be miserable, and no one wants to be miserable.
What? Oh, go ahead, Greg.
Tony, I was just going to ask you a question for you. How many people that have come on our podcast, when asked that question, say the exact same thing? You have to love what you do.
It's just not worth it if you don't, right? Like that's what we just keep learning over, and that's one of the benefits of having this conversation is we just over and over again. If you don't love, if you don't love the practice, you'll never love. There's not an amount of love that'll get you the result that you want. You got to love the grind of it all.
And no amount of money is worth it. I mean,
Right.
if I was doing a job that paid 5 times as much, it still wouldn't mean anything to me, because I don't love what I do. Money does not buy happiness, like we all know, right? And so I would rather make less money and enjoy my family, be home, be present, than work a job where I'm working 60 hours a week, hate my
That's right.
life, and make, I don't know, 3 or 4 times as much.
One of the interesting things about your scenario is that you and your wife are both entrepreneurs, and we run into this pretty often. Entrepreneurship is contagious, I believe,
Yes.
and I just want everyone to catch it. And so, how do the two of you manage the tension of having 3 kids under the age of 6, and both of you being entrepreneurs?
It's tough. There's no easy answer to that. I mean, for us, for Brittany and I personally, we strive just to go on dates together and get away from the chaos, try to turn off our phones, try to just focus on each other, because there's so many distractions, whether it is the kids, which is a great distraction, or technology, phones. So for us, we just have to make sure that we're present with each other. One of the main things that I tell people about us, and I'm still learning to do better, is making sure that you're present. Present means that you're paying attention, you're listening, you're not distracted by a million other things. Like, you are intentional with the person you're talking to, whether or not that's your child or my wife, for instance. Our biggest thing is making sure that we set aside time. Now, everyone's time is different, but setting up enough time to where we can take a deep breath, talk about our day, talk about the kids, and then just kind of regroup for the next day, because it's coming quickly.
Yeah.
You said something that really resonates with me, and it's something that, to be candid with you, I spent a lot of my life not recognizing, and now as I get older, I realize how precious it is to be where your feet are, and not being off in the next moment or wondering, what you're going to say. It really is. And Tony, you said something I just heard on a podcast today. Navy SEAL talked about. He made the statement. He says, "Do something. Amateurs do something long enough to know how to do it right. Professionals do something long enough how not to get it wrong." And you were just talking about, the practice part of it right there. Jeremiah, I'm going to hand it over to Tony so he can land the plane. Those comments there. This has just been such a pleasure. Just watching you grow. I've seen you as a young man, and you have turned into just one heck of a guy that I'm so proud of to know. And there's so many people that are going to gain some confidence and some insight into what they might want to do with their life and everything. So thank you for being here. Tony, land it for us, buddy.
Jeremiah, I have 2 more questions for you. The first one is, where can everyone learn about Bennett Interior Painting?
Yeah. So you can learn from us. We have vans everywhere. I just bought a 3rd vehicle.
Hey.
And I also have an additional personal vehicle that has our logo on it. We're in with Sherwin-Williams, so if you're in the Centerville area and you stop in Sherwin-Williams, I know that they will recommend me highly. Google is awesome, because you can just look up painter, and I usually pop up. I'm on Nextdoor, that neighborhood app that people have. So
That's
you
great.
can go in there, and I have a lot of good reviews on there. as well as pictures, and then of course Facebook. I get a lot of requests, Facebook messages on Facebook. So
That's awesome.
that's probably the best ways.
We'll link to all of that, of course, in the show notes. We'll link to the Facebook page in the show notes.
Mhm.
All right, the last question we love to ask you, because we know that being a small business is hard for everyone. What are 3 businesses that you love in the Miami Valley area that you want to recommend, either be on the show or just lift up because they're awesome? And if you don't say your wife, you're probably going to get slugged.
I'm getting ready to write them down. I got my ink pen ready.
My wife is the number one answer I'm going to give. One, because I want to, and the other because I have to. Some local.
Wait, what's the name of her business? You got to tell us the name.
She's literally Brittany Bennett Real Estate. I mean, that's her. That's
Brittany
the name of her
Bennett
business.
Real Estate. Okay, all right. Number 2 and 3.
I would say, this is a tough one. I love supporting local businesses, and so I know a lot of painting companies. There's another one that I'm familiar with, Purpose Driven Painting. They would be a really good company to talk to because the guy there is outstanding. His name is Eric Cox. He would be an awesome guy. He's a little bit older than me. Just awesome to get some feedback from him. And then what is the place over there? Greg, you probably know. I can't remember what the name of it is. Right across catty corner from Centerville High School, there's an Italian restaurant right there that not a lot.
Oh, Tuscany.
Oh, Tuscany's.
Tuscany's is great. They're great service. And I love
there from my house.
Supporting. Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. So we've gone there a couple times. We've gone there a couple times and we love it. And C-Jacks would be another one. Love C-Jacks.
Yeah.
That place is where my wife and I like to go. And if we have
so hard to get in the C-Jacks.
That place needs to be 2 to 3 times bigger because it's always a line right through the door. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, Jeremiah, thank you so much for agreeing to be on the Ohio Business Spotlight today. It is an absolute pleasure and a privilege to learn from people like you. So thanks for what you do for our community, and thanks for what you do to make the world beautiful.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.